see this fun too. So we'll just pretend it's just me and you for a couple minutes, and people.
It's just us. I don't see anyone else.
I don't know anybody else is here. So, hey girl, I'm so excited to get to, do this with you and get to interview you and meet you and get to know you better. I love having this opportunity.
I'm so grateful to be here. This is so much fun for me, and it's been a whirlwind ride, but I'm definitely super excited to chat with you today.
Super. Yeah. So it's going to be really fun. We're not going to have, I know someone, I don't know if they meant to call in or they didn't. I'm going to lock the seat down for a little while because it's just going to be just me and you, girl. Just me and you talking.
Just hanging.
Yeah.
No
just
big.
Girlfriends hanging out.
Yes.
And so you're a mama of 3.
I am. So I have 3 foster kids. So,
so I want to talk about that in the interview.
Sure. Okay, I love my girls. I have a 4-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 16-year-old.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. So, and all girls. So my oldest is 13. Yeah. She went off in a huff this morning with a little attitude.
Everything. I mean, it's like they hate everything and they love everything. They hate themselves and they love me. It's all over the place.
I know. You're wonderful. One second, the next second, you're not.
I'm the worst. I mean, just today, my 16-year-old, they're doing a fundraiser, and whoever raises the most money gets to be homecoming queen. And she's like, "You're not going to write a check for $500 for me to be homecoming queen?" I was like, "No."
Unbelievable. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I can't wait. I have so many good questions for you, and
I'm excited.
All up here. Do you have any questions for me?
I've got a bunch of questions about your podcast. I mean, I could go on all day. I have questions about your bangs. I mean, literally, Natalie, we can talk for years. I love that. I was like, how do you rock bangs so confidently? Like, seriously.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I think it makes me look a little younger, so I kind of go with it. And
good.
But thank
Signature
you.
Look. Did you hear about what Shalene uses to look young?
No.
She uses unicorn tears and placenta.
I heard you say, you know what? I actually have some placenta pills here from my last birth. I know that's a little gross for some people, but I dehydrated them and I took them. Sure. It's actually very good for you. So I'm trying.
Yeah, but I mean, are you unicorn tears? Because that's key.
I don't know how to access that. I need a course on the unicorn tears course. Maybe that's her next academy.
Maybe it is her next academy.
Unicorn tears and placenta academy. I don't know. I think if anyone can pull that off, it's her.
I know, right? The fairy tale regimen. It would be amazing. I'd buy it. I'd buy it right away.
You're so quick on your feet. I'm just gonna hold on tight and try to keep up with you, and we'll see how this goes.
Fun. I'm excited.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Well, let's hey friends, if you will, and can I say rich friends? Because that's probably some of those people.
These are my rich friends.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. If you all would tell Little Bird over in the left-hand side of your screen, you can share this on Twitter. And if you're on any other big platforms, it's going to be a lot of fun. I am here to help us learn more about Nicole and about how she's launched this business. But also, I find her to be so amazing at networking. And I know that you mentor people, and then you have a powerful mentor we just talked about. So I really want to kind of dig into that because I feel like we all need that. So
sure.
Let me just start off how I usually do. So this podcast, just for everybody on here right now, this is a live video broadcast. You're getting behind the scenes of what's going to happen. And this is going to air on iTunes and every other podcasting platform in audio form only. So you're getting a special treat. We will take some questions towards the end, but for the most part, I'm going to be just focusing on Nicole and not so much on the chat. And so that we can just really dig into her and what makes her special and dig into some great nuggets. You have so much to share. I just cannot wait to go there. So first of all, just Nicole, welcome to the Biz Chicks podcast. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm crazy excited. I can't tell you.
You guys sent me your awesome bio, which I don't want to read word for word, but I'm just going to skim over a couple things in here in case you guys didn't know, because I know you're really humble, Nicole, about your previous success and where you come from. But you are a graduate of Johns Hopkins University, which is no small thing. And you majored in political science. And are you currently in the DC area? Is that where you live?
I am in the DC area. I technically live in Baltimore, only minutes from the campus, but born and raised in DC, and my parents live in Bethesda.
Oh, okay. I lived in Bethesda.
Did you? Oh,
yeah. I lived in DC for 3 years after I graduated from college, and so so I lived in Bethesda for a little while.
Awesome. It's like
Bethesda
great.
Metro Station.
Yes,
I know that Metro Station well.
Yes, I actually grew up maybe like a couple blocks from there. So we moved there
oh
when I
my
was
gosh.
12. Yes.
Yeah, I know right where you grew up.
Wow.
I lived right by there. I could take one of those little shuttle buses.
Yep.
I lived a little farther than walking distance. Okay, so cool. And then tell me a little bit about your business background.
Sure. So I've worked for multi-billion-dollar corporations my entire life. So because I come from sort of a humble beginning, my parents just were not wealthy. They're both African immigrants from Ghana, West Africa. So I really and truly am like the American dream, if you will, because my dad drove a taxi for almost 40 years. My mom worked at a boating insurance company, and they put me through DC elite private school. So I went to school with like Chelsea Clinton, Al Gore Jr., top schools on scholarships. So because of that, I've always had access to the best education, and I've sort of transferred and leveraged that into being able to work at elite schools and elite industries. So I worked for like Wells Fargo. I've worked for T. Rowe Price Financial. And since then, most recently, I've worked with international healthcare providers. So on the carrier side, meaning, for example, your Cignas, your Aetnas, United Healthcare, those sorts of companies, only in the international realm though.
Wow. So you were traveling a lot.
Well, I traveled within the U.S. primarily. However, all my clients were traveling abroad. So an easy example is if a company like PepsiCo wants to send 100 people across to Dubai to work there for, a year, 2 years, it's our job to make sure those expats have coverage that is comparable to what's available in the U.S. So my job was getting in there and winning those accounts, leveraging them, maximizing the amount of money we were able to get out of those opportunities, and do it all strategically.
That's amazing.
It was fun. It was an awesome job. I compare it to like being on Mad Men. Like I was like an account guy, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Lots of golf courses.
Lots of whining and dining.
Lots of whining and
lots
dining.
of golf courses. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, I have a question I ask every guest, and I'd love to hear your answer. You kind of touched a little bit. I have a few inklings of where you might go, but I'd love to hear where you grew up and what you were like as a little girl, Nicole.
Oh my goodness. So I'm so glad, and I'm really hoping my parents aren't watching this or listening to this. And fortunately, they barely know how to work like a DVD player. So I should be good. But, my background is very humble. Like my parents both, like I said, are African immigrants. So we grew up living in inner city DC, 4 of us sharing a 1-bedroom apartment. My parents combined made $30,000 a year. So my passion for earning income and making sure that I'm financially stable is equally yoked with my passion for giving back to people who live in a similar circumstance to myself, because it's very difficult to pursue your dreams and live in your purpose and have that passion for life, if you're worried about finances all the time. So that's really sort of where I come from. But as a kid, I regularly apologize to my mother. I was a headache, totally precocious, I have entrepreneur DNA all through my blood. I was the person at lunchtime in school saying what we need is the trash bag brigade. Everyone needs to bring in trash bags. And of course I was the leader. So of course I didn't pick up trash, but I was like, we're going to take it upon ourselves to clean up the playground. Like it couldn't just be recess, not with me. So I was always like that as a kid, precocious, driven, wanting to, do so much more. And I'd like to think that hasn't changed.
Wow. So your parents are really amazing, because it sounds like, it was so humble where you came from, but they really wanted to make sure that you had opportunity, and they found ways to create opportunity for you with getting you into some of these private schools. Because as my understanding is, especially when you were going to school, I don't know what it's like now, the schools in public DC schools maybe aren't the best option for a young mind.
Yeah, they're not even an option. It really is, people do with the best they can. But honestly, I think any parent knows that a lot of it is what you do outside of school also. So if you have to tutor and support and all that, but a lot of the schools don't have the resources. And I regularly run GoFundMe and fundraisers for my girls' school, because they're presently in a Baltimore City school, but we're actually moving very shortly so that we can have them in a private, option, because fortunately I have the income to do that now and to pass that blessing on to my foster girls. But realistically, getting me into a top school was the one thing my parents understood. Neither of them has an education beyond high school. So for both of them, it was really about we know that she just needs to read. So here's a funny anecdote about that. So my dad heard on NPR, and I grew up listening to NPR all the time.
Awesome.
He heard that, yeah, Diane Rehm, I swore was like my grandmother. I was like, I love Diane. Like, I was such a nerd about it. But my dad heard on NPR that it was important to read to your kids. And, you know, because of his humble background, he didn't quite understand what that meant, but he wanted to fulfill that purpose. So my dad would read to me, but he would read things like the newspaper, you know, like the Metro section, or he would read things to me like Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart, like these very like high level books. And I was like 5, you know, but you know, I was like, I just want Dr. Seuss, please. But he like didn't know what that was, you know? So he would just read to me. And, you know, thanks to that effort and that drive, you know, I had a 12th grade reading level in like 6th grade, you know, because he just did the best he could. And that's kind of what I'm trying to empower people to do every day, return that blessing.
Tell me about your foster girls. I didn't know literally until yesterday that you are a foster mom. And first of all, I am in awe of you, because that is amazing to give your heart in that way to children. And tell me about your girls and how long they've been your girls.
Sure. So they're my blessing every single day. I mean, I thought I had a sense of purpose, and I'll never take away the connection that I know that biological mothers have, but I never knew that my heart could love that way, you know? So it's just a whole other level of commitment to another person that I just wasn't even aware of. And my girls, they've been with us for a year, and I have to say, and I'll say this, I've actually never said this before in any other platform, but my girls didn't come to me through a traditional foster program. And I don't like sharing all the details of their story because it's their personal story.
Absolutely.
You know, but you know, their background is one where it was just a difficult situation in my local neighborhood. And we had the need, we had the space, and we had the capacity to bring them into our home and care for them. So if we didn't bring them into our home, they would have gone into a foster care situation and possibly been split up. So because of that, we partnered with their parents to say, you know, we're here, we're available, you know, and unfortunately, the parent situation, you know, struggles, and both financial and addiction, you know, we've taken them in. So It's been a blessing. It's one of those things where I happen to be a religious person, and never once did I question that God would provide for my girls. And he has, you know, tenfold. I've been able to pursue my dreams. And those mothers out there that have said, I don't know if I can ever do anything again because I'm a mom, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to have a life and a job and be an entrepreneur. It's just not true. I have 3 girls in my home that are teenagers and need everything. Apparently, they want iPads, they need everything, you know, and I quit my job, my 6-figure job, and I pursued it, and I've only made more money every single day. So it's been a blessing.
So how old are they? We talked about it in our pre-chat, but I don't know if everybody got to hear how old they are.
They're 3. And so they're the 3 best and worst ages for females, literally. Like, so I have a 4-year-old. I literally am getting to go through all the worst parts of parenting at the same time. Like, it's a nightmare. Like, I literally will get onto Instagram and onto my Facebook page, and I will ask the people that follow my brand, like, I don't know what to do. I am homecoming dress shopping, and she wants to wear dental floss and 2 Band-Aids. Please help me. I need a collective prayer for this child because I can't do this right now. Like, and I mean, or when my 4-year-old, the very first time when we first got her, she was only 3, and she needed to poop, right? And I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to interact with this. I'm not going to be in there. I don't want her to fall in, but I cannot support her in this measure. Like, and apparently there are little like tiny seats that you can put on there so that they don't fall in, you know? Yeah. But like, I mean, these are things like, how am I supposed to know this, you know? So I've got a 4-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 16-year-old, and every single phase is unbelievable. But they're so much fun. We have such a good time. Like, they're great. They're great.
Well, I'm right there with you because I told you I have a 13-year-old daughter. Then I have a 3.5-year-old son. Whoa. And then my baby is 1.
So you get it. You totally get it, Natalie.
It's really hard having that like teenage stuff. They're what they want to do and how they challenge you are
different.
And then the little ones, it's like, it's so weird. It's like, white bee mama. I'm like, really? You know, and then I'm dealing with like, can I go here? Can I go to Friday night football games? I'm like, I don't think in 8th grade I wasn't going to football games on Friday nights at 8th grade with my friends. I don't know if I want you doing that. And so then you can go with a parent, but I don't want to go to a high school football game. Like, I don't want to do that. this Friday night. I'm tired. I've been working all week.
I know. And it's nuts. Like, or just the other day I was staying up making jerseys for a Powder Puff game, you know, like, and I mean, just like, I'm like, I have $1 million business and I'm putting bows and iron-on numbers on a shirt. Like, what is my life?
We have to talk about outsourcing in the home, because I feel like that's just as important, because I know that you have a team. So tell me about your team real quick, because I know that you have some people working with you. And then I'm going to just share with you a little mom tip is your team in the home is important too. And, you know, you probably were fine before, but yeah, no, really, like you really need to get you need someone helping you with cleaning and someone to do those bows and errands, someone to rent a personal assistant locally to run errands for you would be amazing.
No, you're totally right, because literally it comes down to a situation of, you know, for my private business consulting presently, which I'm actually booked through 2016, but you know, I charge $500 an hour. So when I'm sitting here gluing appliques to a shirt, all I can think is this shirt cost me $2,500.
Exactly. No, really.
Is crazy,
no, I mean, and if you loved it, if you're like, I love the crafting, I'm getting to craft, and it doesn't sound, I'm not hearing that from you. So yeah, girl,
I'm burning myself with hot glue, Natalie. I do not love this, like, at all. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm crying with glitter stuck to my face, watching YouTube. Like, no one is like this, Martha, you know, and then trying to make this work. Like, no, I need help.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think it's something that a lot of women miss, is that, you know, should you be doing your laundry anymore? You know what? Probably not, because we can pay someone. You can work for 1 hour and pay for 2 or 3 people to do stuff for you during the week for your home. So
absolutely.
And I would think that your mentor might have taught you this, because
she did. She yelled. Okay, so she doesn't.
So let's talk about. Tell me about your mentor and why and how she came into your life, because that's part of our topic today.
Okay, so I definitely don't want to tear up, because it's such a special relationship and I've never had anything like it. And she's such a spectacular person. The person we're talking about is Chalene Johnson. And I don't know if people, your audience hasn't heard of her. If they haven't, I'm guessing they go to bed at a regular hour, because she is the infomercial queen. She is a fitness guru, a multimillionaire, self-made, hardworking, social media, everything. I mean, she's also tiny and fit and gorgeous, and basically everybody hates her because she's awesome. And you can't hate her because she's also really great. You know what I mean? She's genuine, loves to share her answers. Like, I can't say enough good things about her, because she's the real deal, you know, and she helps remind me that that's what I need to be able to do also. I need to be the real deal for everyone. But I met Chalene through Periscope. So Periscope, the new live streaming app, you know, I was on there just kind of doing my, you know, business thing where I chat with people about how to monetize their lives, gain new income, business processes to improve, and just basically corporate strategies that the everyday small business owner can use. And Chalene popped on to one of my Periscopes. And when she was watching me, she's on there talking, and I can't even tell you, my scope went wild. People are like, Chalene Johnson's here. Chalene Johnson's here. And I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Oh, you didn't know who she was?
I had no clue. I was like, oh, hey, girl. And of course, I was just sort of playing it off. Like, look, I didn't know who she is because, first of all, I have like 20 pounds I could lose right now. So like, I'm literally like late at night, my head is in the fridge and not in front of a TV. Like, I just like, so I just didn't even register. And so everyone's like, oh my gosh, Chalene's here. Oh my gosh. And so she is actually started coaching me on site. And I actually have the Periscope from when this happened, and when I watch it, it's really amazing. She started saying like, you're doing great. This is awesome details. Girl, where have you been my whole life? You are so on point, like everything, just saying really amazing things. And I was beyond inspired. And then she's like, you know what? I'm going to invite my audience over, because you're so hot. You're so awesome right now. But only after watching me for like an hour and understanding that the endorsement of someone like that is as good as gold, you know? Yeah. But I had to earn it. I had to be with delivering, and I was doing what I needed to do every day. And I was lucky that she landed because you never know who's watching, you know? You never know who's listening, right? So that's what happened. Chalene popped on, and when she popped onto my scope, I was floored. I literally could not believe it. I mean, here she was talking to my audience, and all of a sudden my numbers soared through the roof. And I was actually like, I didn't know what to do. I mean, she did tell me, are you ready? Because your numbers are about to go through the roof, you know? And I was like, yeah, I'm ready. It looks like we lost Natalie. Hey everyone, it looks like we lost Natalie. Sounds like there may have been a connection issue on her side, but I'm going to keep telling the story if that's okay with you guys. So she came on here and I was like, holy cow, like this is just unbelievable that this is happening, right? So when that happened, I was like, well, I got to keep it good. So I kept on going with my story and people were just riveted. They were like, who is this girl? Who is this girl? And I think it's worth mentioning that I exfoliated the day before. Just a heads up. Before you get on live streaming, make sure your skin looks fresh. So in any case, I'm on there and I'm telling her, you know, about myself. She's asking me questions and I'm just delivering my business best. And so as soon as that's done, she may say, how long is it'll keep going? Should I just keep going? I will keep going. So as soon as it was done, I was just like floored because it was such a great opportunity. And we connected afterwards, and this was all I would say about 70 days ago. So when I quit my job, when I first met Chalene, 11 days later, I quit my job. That's what happened. 11 days later, I quit my job. And I'll tell you right now, guys, I was one of those people who didn't know that this was going to happen. I prayed for her. You know, as someone who is a person of faith, I prayed for her. I said, you know, and Chalene always tell you that if something is meant for you, the universe will conspire to make it happen for you. And it's true. You know, she was the last element. You got to have a coach and you got to have a mentor. And when she came on, I knew I didn't have any excuses any longer. I put into place the strategies. I put into place the business processes. And that month alone, I'd made $11,000 on the side of my corporate job. So it was very easy. And because I'd already had all the pieces, there were no more excuses. And now the world had sent me a guide. God had sent me a guide to take me to the next level. So we connect offline. And I think within 30 days, I was sitting on Chalene's bed and she was going through my academy, 1K one day, where I teach people the strategies that I use to monetize my brand and Periscope and everything. And she was giving me directed feedback. I mean, our relationship is one where she texts me and checks on me and uplifts me and supports me. And I just hope to return all of that with, you know, following through on anything and everything she wants me to do. So I see a question here. Tell us how you're making that money for people on Periscope. So you guys definitely want to know, if you're not on Periscope, if you're here on Blab, understand that anything I do transcends to any form of live streaming. It also transcends to anything that you're doing in the real world. You can monetize every single thing you do. So one of the easiest things that I recommend is making sure to set up systems for people to put your money, a place to put your money. You have to build a place to go. And one of the first things I did was I set up an Amazon affiliate store. And yes, I have a full webinar on this. Of course, you can get the webinar. It'll give you details. But get this, you don't need to get anything from me. You can do it. It's totally free. And this is something anyone who's tuning in right now can do. So an Amazon affiliate store is completely free to set up. And as we all know, every single thing is available on Amazon. You can purchase food, you can purchase jewelry, you can purchase clothing, and you can purchase like car tires. I mean, really, everything's available. So one of the things that I do is purchase a lot of things from Amazon because I'm a very busy type of girl. And every time I get on a scope, or scope meaning Periscope, or on Blab, I will wear items from Amazon. So this necklace that I wear all the time is from Amazon, and these earrings are from Amazon, and my makeup is from Amazon. And the price point is comparable to if I went to Target. So all these things are right there and available on Amazon, and I order them there. But what that means is when someone gets onto Periscope, they then say, I love your necklace, Nicole. I love your sweater. Where did you get that? And now I can send them to a place to make that purchase and get paid a commission on every single item. I don't recommend things for free. That's called advertising. So anytime I recommend something now, it's monetized. And that is how I monetize my Periscope by the third day. I was generating a commission from doing simple things like what I wore, what I recommended, products, resources. It's that simple. So that's just a simple example of how I monetize. Now, Natalie did ask me to discuss how I mentor and to tell you a little bit about my team. So the way that I mentor is I offer one-on-one coaching. That's the first part. But to be completely frank, my mentoring is a little different from other people. So people who mentor might be all about doing a supportive hug sort of thing. And frankly, I'm not a hug person. I'll send you to your mama for hugs. The type of person that I am is I'm the type of person to give you actual strategies, real tools. Because realistically, most of us already have that drive. That's why you booked a session. That's why you sought out a mentor. That's why you looked for a coach, right? You already have that drive. You want it, right? What you need are the tools. You need to fill in the gaps. You need the actual resources. You need to know, hey, I want to make a webinar. What website do I go to? Well, I do all the research and I do all the strategies, and then I combine that with a healthy dose of my sales and monetization expertise. Because you can put everything into place, but if you don't know how to bring it to the people in a way that they're going to want to engage, you'll never generate the revenue. So that's really how I mentor. I build that relationship. I take whatever it is that your purpose, your passion, your goal, and I take that and I structure it into a platform where we fill in those gaps. We build a place for people to go, a place for them to deposit their coins into your bank account so that way you can actually earn real revenue just doing what you love. And then I think the other part of the question was, outside of how I mentor, tell you about my team. That's right. So I built a team around a simple strategy that I like to call your coin collective. And your coin collective is essentially the 4 other people around you that balance you out financially. So I believe that everyone should have 4 other people in their business that consist of these roles. You should have a data guru, which is someone who's all about stats, all about numbers, and they make sure that everything aligns the way it should. You also should have an example, somebody that you can look to who's already been there. My example is Chalene Johnson. And of course, you want to make sure that you have a taskmaster, somebody who can break things down into a list for you every single day, because that's how you're really going to conquer and crush your strategy if you have an everyday plan. You also need to have a visionary. A visionary is someone who helps you structure your long-term goals, helps you keep sight of the places you need to go, helps you always keep perspective on what it is that you're doing, but make sure that you arrive there beautifully. That's a visionary. They're often the creative of the group. And then lastly, you got to have a pusher. A pusher is the person who helps you when your chips are down. A pusher is the person who, when you're like wanting to quit, because that's how the entrepreneurial world is, a pusher is the person who's going to be like, not today, honey, you're going to get it done. So I absolutely think that your team needs to be built around those. And that's how I built my team. My data guru is my manager. My taskmaster is my assistant. These are all specific roles. You know, my pusher is a really good friend of mine who's also very prayerfully driven, because that aligns with my religion. My visionary is a really good friend of mine who is a beautiful artist, you know, and understand that they don't all work in my profession, but they all contribute to my financial future because they give me a perspective that is so useful. How have I built my Periscope platform? So that's a great question. In building my Periscope platform, I want to be honest entirely that I didn't come on Periscope with the intent to build a platform. However, I'm pretty quick on the whip, if that's even a term. And I realized very quickly that it was a huge opportunity to leverage a new social media platform to not just rebrand myself, because I was a beauty blogger prior to that, but also to reach the masses and really apply the skill set that I have and leverage that into a big opportunity for everyone else. So in building Periscope, one of the things I recommend is just a tip for everyone, and I imagine it would work here on Blab as well, is that you want to use clickbait titles. Clickbait titles and trending topics. Utilize the algorithm and people's natural human nature to be interested in something that is catchy. So if you have a title and your title says something like, instead of scoping about why I believe that finances are super important and I'm going to tell you how good they are, you know what, that topic's not very useful because people are kind of like, that seems boring. Pick a title where you say the 3 things you need to know to make money tomorrow. Anyone is going to click on that. So right there, you've opened yourself up to a wider audience where people are going to be interested in joining in. The next question, you're back.
Hi.
Yes, hello.
Thank you for interviewing yourself for me.
You're so welcome. I was holding down the fort. I was like, I got to keep this going. Like, I got to keep it going. I don't have bangs, but I'll try.
Oh my goodness. So I think I've learned a lesson. I now need to start every blab with a prayer for internet connection and all the technology.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
some
so
holy
funny.
Water, light some candles, girl. Put on your Spanx. Like, we need everything to pull together, okay? Like, for real.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. So where are we and what did I miss?
Yeah, so we were just chatting about how I develop a team. We talked a little bit about, the last thing we talked about was how I met Chalene. Okay, so yes. I went over that and how we met on Periscope, and it was awesome. And it was one of those unexpected live streaming miracles. And then we chatted a little bit about building a team and all the integral personality things that I think are really key. And we were just about to chat about what the keys are to finding a mentor.
Okay, let's do that. I really want to talk about that, because this podcast is all about a series I'm doing on masterminding, networking, and teams. And I really am encouraging all women to I especially like to mastermind with other women, find other women to connect with and build. And some of my mastermind buddies are on here. Hi, ladies. I love you. And
thanks for joining.
Yeah. And I really think it's something that I host paid masterminds, but it's something you can form yourself from your own network. Yeah. And I like to suggest that you look for some people that are doing things ahead of you that you want to do, which I feel is what, Shelene is probably where you're heading, where you want to go. So what are some other things that were important for you that you look for in a mentor that would translate for other people too?
Sure, absolutely. So I was chatting about it earlier. It's actually, and this is like a little sneak preview of my academy, 1K One Day, but that's like the very first assignment. So before we even get into teaching you the strategies on how to make $1,000 a day or build your business, I literally make everybody build mini masterminds, because you're so right, Natalie, they're that important. Having a coach now and realizing what it is to be able to take your ideas to a group of people you trust that bring varied skills to the table. It's something that you want to pay for if you need to. And if you don't have to pay for it, you're lucky, because it will take your business to the next level. An outside opinion, other perspective, an objective opinion, plus a varied skill set. So one of the things I look for is I don't look to duplicate myself. Like, I'm already in the mastermind. I don't need a posse of yes girls who are like, yes, girl. Yes. Like, I don't need that. Like, that's not helpful. I'm looking to take my business to the next level. And I need a group of people that I love that are also going to give me criticism that I can hear, even if it's harsh. And I'm telling you, Shelene, she is the queen of all masterminds. She will tell me right out the gate, you will never say that again. I love you. Don't ever do it. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things where you have to have those people around you who are going to help, support you and take you to that next level, and a mastermind's the place to be. Like, I feel like they're kind of trending now. Like, you hear about them more, but anyone who's been in business has always had this. These business, like, being a political science major, people don't realize that there are political masterminds that have existed for years.
Yes.
Where, in Capitol Hill, there are little mini Senate groups where they meet regularly. All the famous politicians and top tier business executives, they meet on a regular basis. And I can't remember the name of it, but there is like a summit that they have. That's a private summit that they have it's in the West Coast. Like, it's a very common thing to have a mastermind to take your business to the next level. So
it really is. And when I kicked off this series in episode 191, and I put the link there in the chat. Yes. What we did is we even went back to Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich. Yes. I even got a little clip from him that I played, and he talks about why they're powerful. He interviewed in his day, Carnegie Mellon and all, Gillette and all these really big men. Yep. And what they had in common was they were all in a mastermind. And so that's kind of what this is all about. But I wonder for your suggestions on mastermind, what's a mini mastermind? How many people do you recommend people grab into their inner circle?
Sure. So a mini mastermind is actually what I recommend within your industry. So a mini mastermind is like 5 people. And for instance, I've got this whole course that I'm teaching, 1K One Day, where we've got hundreds of people in a room together, in our private group. Well, it's very difficult to interact with hundreds of people for every issue that you have. You really honestly don't need hundreds of people giving you opinions on things. That'll just get you scrambled. That's too much noise. So if you form a mini mastermind, which I call for my purposes a coin collective, you've got these people together around you, and it's just 4 people with varied personalities. I talk about a visionary. A visionary is someone who sees things on the long run, an artist, a creative. Having a data guru, someone who loves the numbers, who's a cruncher, who is all about your spreadsheets and your numbers and your data, who's going to work out the logistics to get you there. I talk about a taskmaster. A taskmaster is a person who loves to make lists and makes it happen. And then I talk about having a pusher. A pusher is a person who pushes you to your goals, who makes sure that when the chips are down, they're going to push you back up. And then, of course, an example. If you're lucky, you can get a Chalene Johnson, but if not, you can look to a virtual example. There's Oprah and, Oh my gosh, Ariana Huffington. There are tons of people you can look to who are sharing their answers of how they got to where they are every day. And you can bring that to your mini mastermind and crunch out your issues.
What do you call that last person?
The last person is your example.
Example. Okay. Yep. I like that. I just put that in the chat for everybody to see, and I'll put them in the show notes for this episode too. Where do you find yourself? If I was to be in a mastermind with you, which of those would you label yourself?
If I was in a mastermind with you, I probably wouldn't be the example because you're pretty fancy, Natalie.
Oh, I don't know. When I look at your platform, I'm pretty amazed by it. So I'm happy for you to be the example.
Oh, thank you. No, I count myself as an example, but I definitely transcend between the others, just like Chalene is definitely my example, but she has got all sorts of pusher in her. You know what I mean? So everyone, you can be a data visionary or a task pusher. No one is limited to one thing, but we definitely have at our core something about us. And I'd like to think that a lot of moms and a lot of female entrepreneurs are probably pushers because we get to push through a lot to get where we are.
Yeah, I love the idea. As we're of one mind. I love looking for diversity in a group, and really, and I like to look for diversity across industries too. So in my group, I'm a business person, podcaster. We have a historian. She has a PhD in history. She's actually she's a podcaster too, but she comes from like the academic world. We have a Dr. Romy who's in here. Who I like how you said you're on my team, Romy. I wish you are in my inner circle, and I know you're on my team. But she is a neurologist, and now she practices integrative medicine and speaks all over on mindfulness. And she has a TED Talk, and she's actually one of Shalene's top 40 Periscopers.
Yeah, so she's like smart and gorgeous, and everybody loves her.
Exactly. And then I have Maria, who's in here too, and she's a former teacher who does speaking and is a children's book author. She's written at least six books. Wow. And she's incredible. So it's a really tight group. And then Katie Kremitzos, who just had a baby, and she's also another podcaster. And we have a lot of similarities in our business, but she comes at things at a different angle. So it's so fun to have her view and her perspective. And we provide accountability. We push each other. So I love that, you're advocating masterminds as well. That is just so fantastic.
It's a must. I mean, it isn't even, I think anyone who knows anything about business advocates masterminds because it's a must. It's like saying, oh, you can have an online business and not have a website. Girl, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? A mastermind is just a must have, and you're right about the diversity of industry. You want to be with people because the rules and the tenets and the structure of business and sales are the same no matter where you go. So being able to have the perspective of people that apply these differently and implement them for success every day is integral to being able to grow your own business, because you're going to take tools from someone who's a baker and crushing it, bring it into your world, and you're going to slay. You're going to slay and you're going to deliver. Okay. And it's all because you're taking something brand new and fresh and then distinguishing yourself in the marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk about something that I love that you do, which is, so you've built this platform on Periscope and you have this tribe of followers. A number of them are here saying, I love you. You're my Chalene Johnson. You're my example. And I'm sure it just is warming your heart to pieces, and I'm loving seeing it. It's so awesome. And you created a language for your tribe.
The glossary of Nicole. I don't make sense, girl.
Well, I'm pretty sure in your corporate world, you didn't have this language. And I want to talk about how powerful it is when you have, you're laughing, but it's really a great strategy for anyone else building a platform to name your tribe so they feel like they're part of something. So what do the people in your tribe call themselves?
That's so funny to me, because here's the thing, right? So Natalie, I'm not naming them in a joking way. These are my rich friends.
I know that. I know that. For those of you guys listening later on the audio podcast and can't see this, we have like 100 rich friends going in the chat. They're rich friends.
Yes, so, and they're really my rich friends, Natalie. You don't understand.
Like, I know they are.
I'm so serious about it. Like, one of the things that I say is like my mailing list is called the Rich Friends List. And I tell people to get on my Rich Friends List because I want to keep tabs on them. I don't want to see on your Instagram that you used 1K one day, went out and bought a yacht, and then you want to act like you don't know me. You're my friend. Like, take me on your yacht. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean it. And we're all rich in lots of ways, whether it's emotionally or spiritually, or even just rich in our sense of purpose and our drive to get out there and be something more. So all my job is try to help them get rich financially. And I can handle that, you know, so they're my rich friends from the day we meet. And these are my rich friends. Hey, rich friends.
I love it. And then you don't say money. We're not going to make money. What are we going to make?
Oh, we're going to make coin. We're going to stack coin collectors, going to the bank. Coin.
You get
a coin and you get a coin. That's right.
And what are some other Nicole glossary things we need to know to understand you?
Sleep coin is passive income. So when you when you make money, when you wake up and your bank account has sleep coin, that's what that is. I also talk about the some money life. We don't sneeze at some money, because some money is understanding that success comes in bits and pieces. So you don't want to sign up for anything where you're going to get $1 million overnight, because it's probably not sustainable. So some money life is something that you want to be about, you know, lots of streams of income and building up your wealth. And then the other big one that I use all the time, which is so important, is receipts. You gotta have receipts. Receipts are credibility. Receipts are testimonials. And if you don't have receipts to show for your skill set and your talent, then you're slacking. You know what I mean? You gotta have receipts. And I got receipts. My rich friends are here and I love them.
Yes, you do. You've got receipts. Where did you, and I know this probably feels funny to you because no one really asks this, but I like to kind of dig under things.
So
I know. But does this just like come out of you? Like if I was your friend in real life, would you have even more things that you just say, or is there any intention behind it?
Like this all the time. It's really sad because I have a very good education, so I probably shouldn't make up words. Right?
I actually love it. I love it. We know you're educated. It comes off in the way you talk. And maybe you don't realize that you've done this. So maybe I'm showing you.
So funny because I have put out in some of my private groups, like, what are these? Because people will say to me, like, Nicole, you say the most ridiculous things. And I'm known for saying ridiculous things in my life. My friends and family, they're like, why do you say these things? Like I'll say things like, we'll have, well, for instance, as we all know, there are trolls out there in the blog or in the live streaming world. They just pop up and they're icky and we don't like them and they disrespect us and they distract us from what we need to do. Right. So I'll have people come on there, and whenever I block someone, I'll sing a little block song, like heading to the block party, off to go, about to block you, block, you know, right, exactly. I'll sing a song, and then I'll say like, oh yeah, we have to block the broke. We need to block the broke, build a holy wall around it, and just block the broke, you know? And like, so, and I mean, to me, it makes sense. Like, what, isn't this what everyone else is going to say?
So for anyone who's not naturally doing this, like Nicole, it obviously comes naturally to you, but if you're trying to build a platform and build a tribe of people that are following you, when you've created a sense of community, when you've defined them as belonging, we all want to belong, right? We all want to belong to something. And when you say I'm your rich friend, I feel like we're really friends.
We are.
And I know we are. And I feel a part of what you're doing, and you're successful, and I feel a part of your success, and I'm coming along with you. And we have a lingo. We are talking the same language. Yes. We're saying coin. We are saying sleep coin. We are getting receipts. Yes. And we have a secret language that we know together, and that builds community, builds connection. And so for other, I know there's you have a lot of fans here. There's biz chicks here. There's rich friends here. There's biz rich friends, biz friends. We have to rich in there.
We got it.
If all of these things really, if you're trying to build a platform, you want to do some of these things. You can observe what drew you to Nicole. It's her magnetic personality, but really it's the content. You're delivering amazing content. It's heartfelt, it's vulnerable, it's real. And you've created a name for your tribe, for the people listening to you, and you've created a lingo that's private only to your group. So that's a really amazing thing that you've done, and that I would encourage anyone, if you are trying to launch a platform, whether it's on Blab, whether it's on Periscope, whether it's a podcast, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's through blogging, whether it's a local platform that you're creating, if you can create something so people feel this sense of belonging, you will soar, because because and what I love, especially now that I'm learning, there's no calculation in it behind it. And it doesn't have to be calculated. It's just that it's nice to talk to people, instead of just saying, hey, y'all, you could say that too, which is nice, but calling us, naming the people listening, giving us something to be a part of has just been so powerful and a great thing people can emulate. So you can't call your group Rich Friends.
Right.
She's taken that, but you can find something else. So I call mine Biz Chicks. I'm Biz Chicks Podcast, and my people listening are Biz Chicks. And then so I have some cool dudes that listen too. So I have Biz Chicks and cool dudes.
Yeah, no, I think that's such great advice. And it's funny because I've never even thought about that as advice. Like, I think that you kind of asked like where it came from. And as you were talking, I guess one of the things that is so key about live streaming is we always talk about the know, like, and trust factor, right? That's necessary in sales. We're all trying to build it, that happens. However, if you can build it authentically, that's the real deal, and I call people my rich friends because they're really my rich friends. I didn't even think of it. And I chat with everyone like they're my rich friends. Shalene actually told me at one point that when the way that I scope, it feels like I'm FaceTiming with a friend, and that's how I feel. You know what I mean? And when I meet people in real life, I like give them big fat hugs and I'm like, I'm so excited to see you because I really am. And I think that whatever you're doing in your business or live streaming or tweeting, be authentic. Because it's so hard to be anything else. It's really difficult to have to maintain a balance between not being yourself and not living in your purpose. It's so much easier to show up and just be you, and in doing that, that's where that language came from. And like my tribe calls me Scopra, you know what I mean? Like, because it's Periscope, they call me Scopra. They made that up, like.
Oh, really? So I didn't know that. I was like, that's genius.
No, I didn't make that up. And Shalene said the same thing. She was like, that is genius. I was like, I didn't make it up. They were like, oh my gosh, this is Scopra right here. Like, and I was like, you guys are so great. Like, that's so funny. And I mean, these are my friends. I get to know their names. I ask about their kids. Like, I care, and I think it's important to just understand that there's always another person on the other side of that camera or on the other side of that dollar or on the other side of that counter. And if you always treat people that way, then they'll always come back, because these are your friends.
What did it feel like the first time you jumped on Periscope? Because I have so many women in my community. I'm sure there's some people listening that are like, I want to do Periscope, or I want to try Blab, or I want to put myself out there in some way. I want to launch something, but I'm afraid, what did it feel like? What was going through your mind, and how did I'm assuming there was a little fear, unless you're just completely fearless. I'm sure there was some stuff going through your mind, and how did you push through that?
Okay, so to be completely honest, and I've never said this anywhere before, but I am scared every single time I get on. I get like a little flutter of nerves every single time right before I scope. Every single time. I prepare. So the way that I balance out that those nerves is I get ready. I take notes. I have an entire journal, where I write down, step by step, like here's the scope that I did recently, the 4 needs of an entrepreneur, and I wrote down, like, do your intro, talk about your new journals. Cause this was like a month ago, talk about the different points, talk about the truth that you've been going through, and I write those points down because when you're armed with a plan, it becomes a lot easier to not be nervous. It's a lot easier to stay on track because anytime I feel a flutter, anytime I go left, I can just kind of go down here and look and and get right back on track, So every single time before I scope, I get a flutter and I wonder, is this the one where no one shows up? Is this the one where I get a troll and people are like, oh my gosh, she's terrible? Or is this the one where someone says, I'm hating 1K one day? Or like something like that. I always, because I'm a real person, and every single one of those things matters to me because I never want, it's not about embarrassment or anything like that, because that's the thing that I am fearless about. I don't worry so much about being embarrassed. I worry more about letting my rich friends down. And I want everybody to be the very best. And I really want them to all be successful. So I worry more about that. I worry more about, letting them down and not be delivering what they need. Is this going to be a high value scope? I had a scope. Here's a great example of what happened. Periscope was glitchy like a week or two ago, and they weren't sending out any notifications whatsoever for scopes.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, not at all. So my scopes typically fill up to about 500 people or more within like 5 minutes, and blocks people out. Like that's full, like it's at capacity. So I get on to Periscope and I'm thinking, oh, I've got a dope scope today. Cause I get excited about my scope. Like, this is right. I'm on here. I've got my dance music. I'm like, this scope is going to be everything. Like, just wait till I drop this on them. They aren't even going to be able to breathe. Like, I'm so excited. Right. And I get on here and I notice that it goes up to like 50 people. And then I'm like, and unfortunately, the first thing that comes to mind isn't, oh, there must be something wrong with the system. The first thing that comes to mind is, oh man, this is it. Like nobody likes me anymore,
wow.
Or everybody went someplace else, because I'm a real person. Like, I definitely have moments of like insecurity. So, I mean, at that point, what I had to say to myself was, well, I'm here now, and the people that did show up, I still owe it to them to deliver. So I kept on delivering my material. And I acknowledged that the numbers were low, because some people were new for the first time. And if they'd heard about that Scoper girl and they get on here and now there's like 50 people, they probably were like, what's going on, And I acknowledged, I was like, the numbers are low, but I was like, it's actually kind of nice because we can all talk to each other, and it's intimate and this is kind of cool. And people are getting to ask their questions. So I kept doing the scope. And when I wrapped up after about 45 minutes, the notification went out. So,
and then you saw 500 replays. 500
people in 2 seconds in my scope, like, hey, so glad to be here. And I'm like, and I ended up doing the whole scope over again. So it was a back-to-back scope, one right after the other. But it just goes to show that a lot of the insecurities that you may have that keep you from engaging a new platform or keep you from pursuing your business or approaching someone to ask them to be your mentor or building a mastermind are unfounded. So you just have to go for it anyways, deliver your best, and chances are you'll surprise yourself.
Yeah. And I say ask, I have 100% success rate in asking people to mastermind with me so far. Not that it's been 100 people, but I have a really, people are waiting to be asked to connect on a deeper level. We're all online. We're all, watching live streaming. We feel connected to some people but it's really not the same as you said. Like you said, if you're in a course, if you're in a group, take it smaller. Like if you were at a party with, 100 or 200 or 500 or 1,000 people, you wouldn't just wander around the room the whole night.
Right,
you would find a little group that you connected with to talk to. And so we've got to kind of take our offline behavior and do that online too.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm learning so much. You're so great. I love you, Natalie. You're like so informative.
I love you too. And next time you're in Orange County, you gotta, I want to see you because I'm here. In the kitchen. So guess what? So Shailene on Saturdays spins in the spin class I go to. So she just started doing this like a couple months ago. And I didn't notice that she was there at first. And then the instructor called her out. And now so can you imagine you're in a spin room with like 40 or 50 people and she's like amazing, but I've never followed her for fitness. I listened to her podcast, which is Build Your Tribe. Yeah. And she has this Shailene show too. She has 2 podcasts because she's Shailene and so she can do 2. She's awesome. But so now when I'm in spin class and she's there, I can only think about business. I'm like, and usually I go to work out to like forget about stuff, like forget about my kids for a little while, forget about business. And I'm like, and then I will see Shailene in the mirror and cause there's mirrors everywhere. So you can't help but see everybody. And I'm like, oh, what else could I do on Periscope? And I could do this on Blab. Oh, I could interview this person, ask them this. And I could, I could add this course to my, so it's so funny, like what people trigger in you. So it's just so funny.
You know what? She probably would love to, like, that's so awesome because if she is triggering people to not, because understand this is a woman who built her brand on the fitness empire, so to know that people look at her now and think, how can I improve my business? Like isn't that the legacy we're all looking to leave, to help people improve as soon as they see us, when I see Oprah, I instantly think, is there money in my pocket? Is there money in my, because that's how Oprah is. That's the effect, you're like, Oprah's nearby. I feel like I can feel her when she's nearby. I'm like, Oprah's nearby me right now. Like I get kind of queasy and I need to sit down, because she's that amazing. So yeah, no, that's too funny. Oh my gosh. No, and next time I'm in Orange County, I'm so hitting you up. I'm going to be right in your kitchen. Like, hey girl, you out of orange juice? That'll be me.
I would love to take you to coffee or tea or whatever you like and hang out for a little while. It'd be so fun. The beach. I saw you were at the beach when you were out here. I saw your little scope from the beach on the sunset. It was so cute.
There. Oh my gosh, Orange County was totally after my own heart. That and In-N-Out Burger. I'm like, they'll have everything.
Okay, forget it. We're just going to In-N-Out. We're going to In-N-Out and we're getting, and I want to get fries and shakes and burger, everything. Yes, I want to get it all. You have to have their shakes too. They're amazing. If you've never been to California or anywhere there's an In-N-Out, you have to have one if you come here.
That's a must. I'm all for it.
Hey, Nicole, I want to check in on your time because I want to take some questions. If you guys have questions, go ahead and start throwing them into the chat and we'll try to get some answered. But I want to check in on your time. Do you have a few more minutes?
I'm good to go. Yeah, absolutely. Totally.
Okay, good. Okay, super.
Is it better than Five Guys? Yes.
Yes, it is.
I hate to say it, but it really, I didn't even understand the hype of In-N-Out Burger until I had In-N-Out Burger. And I was like, wait a minute. This is actually a thing. And the secret menu, ordering things animal style. You don't even know about that.
Oh my gosh, you really got in. Okay. Yeah, not everybody knows that.
I was there for 5 days. I went twice.
So after I had my son who's now 13 months, the first stop we did on the way home was to In-N-Out. So just so you know.
Oh my gosh. And like, I understand that locals like this. So that's a big deal.
Okay. So here's a question from PS Loves Life. How did you build up your Scope following so quickly?
Ooh, I mean, that's a good question. So it's a double-edged thing. So I want to be completely candid about this. The first thing is that my numbers change, but they change in big waves. So the first part was just delivering value, content before cash. That's the first thing. You need to show up and you need to show out. You can't just get on Periscope and do whatever. You have to have like a plan. You need to have a system if you're really trying to monetize the platform or take the conversation offline to make it monetizable. So I came on Periscope, and by the third day, I was like, this is going to be a thing for me, because I don't have to edit it like YouTube. I get to interact with people and I enjoy it. This is going to be something I'm going to use to raise my brand. So that was the first thing. And then I think I talked a little earlier about like clickbait titles. Do all the smart things you've learned in business with Facebook ads and tweeting. All that stuff still applies. Just make sure that you're using that there. But then the other thing is being completely candid. So I quit my job live on Periscope.
Yeah, Kiwi Kim 88 is telling us that in the chat. And I've heard you say that too. I didn't get to see it, but how do you quit your job on Periscope? How does that work?
So first and foremost, that was not planned at all.
Really?
I've been getting at all. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I think I said to Shalene, at one point I was like, should I do this on Periscope? And the general consensus with everyone was don't do it. Literally, don't do it. That was like the absolutely 100%. That was the consensus. Do not do it. So I'd been already griping about my job in addition to delivering value around business models. And so then I get on Periscope and just, a couple of days building up to it, I get on Periscope and I tell people, okay, well, today's the day I'm going to call in and quit my job. Like, that's what I just said. I was like, so I'm talking to you right before. I'll come back after it's done. Just kind of being honest about my journey. Well, people were like, oh no, keep us on. And that was, I don't know, every part of me wanted to be like, no, because I didn't know how it would go. You know what I mean? My boss easily could have been like, oh, you're terrible, leave. I didn't know. But it felt like that would also be authentic and honest, for me to, because I can't be on here and talk about your business. And I can't be on here and talk about what I do and tell you guys, oh, you can quit your job and be an entrepreneur if I don't do it. That's integrity.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I got on and I did it. I texted my husband quick to make sure it was legal, because I was like, what are the laws in Illinois and what are the laws here? Because, he covered my bases on that. He was like, yeah, just as long as they don't hear him, it's a one-sided conversation, you could do it. So I did it. And it was one of the most encouraging and uplifting moments. I had 10,000 people watch me. It was not a single person logged off. It was like 1,000 people in the podcast at one time. The numbers were comparable to what you see when Twitter hosts. It was trending on Twitter. It was crazy. So, I mean, that big moment, like, I'm telling you, big moments, like if you're about to go into labor, put it on Periscope. It'll probably blow up. You know what I mean? Like, these are the times, Apparently, if you're willing to share it, that's going to do it, So that was a big turning point that surged me up in followers and helped deepen my relationship with the people who are already there. And then, of course, Shalene came after that. But I was already pulling pretty big numbers.
Yeah.
But Shalene really sent it through the roof once it was all said and done.
That's incredible. Yeah. Wow. So amazing. So crazy. So what were you, I mean, let's just talk about when you did quit your job. Like the emotions behind that, because you have girls now, you're an instant mom. You are a foster mom of 3 girls. For anyone, just joining us now, you have a 16-year-old, 13-year-old, and 4-year-old. They're siblings that have been living with you for a year.
Yep, a year.
Yeah. And so you became an instant mom. You've got, responsibility more than just yourself and your husband. What was it like I can't even imagine all the things going through you. Yes, you have some opportunity. There was opportunity knocking at your door, but I'm assuming anything you were monetizing at that point was not equivalent to your corporate salary.
Oh yeah. So
or was it?
It was. So so what happened in terms of chain of events was I'd been building the structures already for my business. So like that was something that I'd already been putting into place. I had different systems out there. I had a few products that I created that were generating income. So I was making around $11,000 a month. Like anyways, that first month was the first month I made 5 figures in using the very systems that I teach. I didn't launch a course. I didn't do anything like that. I literally was making that type of money just right out of the gate. So I did make 6 figures in my corporate job, but the numbers were pretty comparable, at that point, because I made, I think, like that month was the first month where I made a little bit more than I did in my 9-to-5 job. And I did that on the side. That was all passive income. So once that happened, I was like, oh, like, that's pretty wild. I was like, I have a place to go. But I also was still scared because everyone always says entrepreneur income isn't consistent. And it's usually because they don't have passive income resources set up. What should be inconsistent are your large surges of money. But you should always have latent money in a high volume that's coming in if you set yourself up correctly. So that's what I had already done. So I was like, oh, well, I need to quit so I can get these large surges of money. So I still was afraid. I still knew that I had these girls I needed to feed that I was responsible for. And, but I had to do it afraid. You know what I mean? I had to, because on one hand, I knew that I had these responsibilities, but I also knew that my girls were watching me every single day. My girls were hearing me talk about living in your purpose and chasing your passion and generating income and being honest and having integrity and knowing that you can do it by yourself. Because understand that these girls, they don't have a backup plan. They don't have a safety net, So if I don't show them that they're able to do it with just themselves, surround yourself with the right people who love you and then go for it, then what am I really teaching them, So I quit. I quit. Yeah, that was it. I quit.
I love how you created some content that you've repurposed content initially to share kind of your, like you've taken Periscopes and sold them later as webinars, which is incredible. Yeah. And I love that. And I just want to encourage everybody out there. You don't have to make things perfect. You don't have to be in a studio. You don't have to do any of that to put something out there and have people want to buy it and be happy with their purchase. So
absolutely, content before cash. If it's valuable, if you are serving the purpose, honestly, the thing I always recommend to people is you have to have good sound. You need to have good lighting, and you need to have super dope bomb content. If you have those things, you're going to crush. That's all you need. Don't worry about editing. Don't spend all the time saying, I don't have a logo, or I don't have a slogan, or I don't have a tagline. Those are all excuses. Get out there and get it done.
Nicole, I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for hanging a little longer than we planned. Tell us, how can people connect with you?
People can find more about me at monetizethyself.com. And you can find me on Periscope, of course. I'm always on there just about every day at Natural Nicole, just like my name right here on Blab. Or if you're following on podcasts, at Natural Nicole with a P. And I'm always around the internet. I am, literally. I'm always around the internet. So the next place I'll be will probably be Natalie's Kitchen. So
no, we're going to be at In-N-Out. I'm sorry. We're going to be at In-N-Out.
We're going to be at In-N-Out. So if you're looking for me, In-N-Out, Orange County, probably the one in Laguna. I'll see you there.
Yep, that's what we're going to be. And no doubt. Well, thank you so much for being here. And for anyone that would like to listen to this broadcast later on, if you missed it and don't want to watch it, you can listen to it on bizchix.com/iTunes or search BIZCHIX on, I spell chicks with an X. So search it on any podcasting platform. I've interviewed over 200 amazing female entrepreneurs like Nicole and would love for you to check them out. So just some amazing women that you would love to learn from. And I also host a private Facebook group for female entrepreneurs called the Biz Chicks Coop, which you're welcome to check out as well. So Nicole, will you close us out today with an inspirational quote and share what it means to you?
Absolutely. Yes. The quote that I live my life by is that my provision resides in my purpose. I know that as long as I am chasing my purpose every day and giving back to others and delivering, I will get paid for it. And so will you.
That is so beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being on the Biz Chicks podcast.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's such an honor. Appreciate it.
All right, folks, that concludes our podcast interview. This will again air rebroadcast on iTunes in audio only format, and then you can also watch the replay here. Thank you so much for your time, Nicole. Would love to connect with you again in the future. Let me know how I may be of service to you, if ever. And
humbled. If anything I can do, please. Thank you. To one of these, the 200 on, I'm so humbled. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, and have an awesome rest of the day. Bye, rich friends. Bye, Biz Chicks.
Bye, rich friends. Bye, rich friends.
Bye, rich Biz Chicks.